Yes, we are in fact live. Still getting used to this. Not sure who's on right now, but if you're here, thanks for joining. And if you're watching this recorded, welcome. Agaya and Ubuntu to you. My name's Dr. Michelle Merrill, and I'm the founder of Novasutras. And this is our Agaya and Ubuntu connection Ecospiritual news live stream. So this is an experiment. You can tell that I'm still figuring out how to do these and what to do, but I'd love to get your feedback. So please stick with it. Let me know what's working for you, what isn't working for you, and things that you think we should have included that we didn't. Any other feedback that you have to help make this more useful for you, more interesting and engaging for you. Really appreciate that. Feel free to leave comments in the chat. And I'd like to start us off today, as I often like to start off Novasutras events, with taking a little moment for some radical gratitude. Sometimes it seems, we hear this idea about gratitude practice as, oh, that's just some cute thing that people do to make themselves feel a little bit better. But it actually changes our mindset as we move in the world from one of scarcity and lack to one of appreciation that leads to efficacy. And the entire intent of Novasutras is to help make us more effective agents of positive change in the world. So I encourage you to think for a moment about where you are on the planet right now and something that you really appreciate about that place. This could be the people you know there, your family or friends or neighbors. It could be something about the local culture that you really appreciate or enjoy. It could be the food. It can also be the more than human world that surrounds you. The tree that's just down the street from you. The bird song that you hear in the morning. Those perfect, beautiful sunsets you get every once in a while. Whatever it is that brings a smile to your face, let that settle into your heart right now. And appreciate the way that we as humans can be open to joy. Remembering that as much as our consumption-driven culture tries to tell us that we don't have enough, we are not enough, there are ways that we are cared for by this world. And it's important to remember those even in times of great struggle, especially in times of great struggle. Despite the hardships, there is also beauty and joy. So again, thank you for your gratitude practice, and thank you for being here and joining us today to find out a little bit more about the eco-spiritual perspectives of what's going on in the world right now. So what I would like to do next is to invite you, if you are live and using the chat, you might want to drop in there where on our beautiful planet you find yourself right now, so we can get a sense of where people are. I am coming to you from Santa Clara, California. That's the Silicon Valley, the tech hub part on the south end of the San Francisco Bay. Where I am is unceded land of the Tamien and Muwekma Ohlone people. And I am humbled and honored to be able to come to you from this incredible place of convergence, where the Guadalupe River enters the bay. So, what is going on this week? Well, most of the news I want to talk about this week is more news of the world and some of the incredible climate disruption that we're experiencing right now. I haven't had a chance to look at it yet, but one of the headlines that really weighed heavily on me as I heard it yesterday, and I've been thinking through it, is a new article by climate scientists who were looking at ocean circulation, and they realized that the Atlantic, it's the AMOC, so the Atlantic, I think it's meridional overturning current, that takes warm water from the tropics and moves it up into the North Atlantic, and is what keeps Europe warmer than equivalent latitudes in North America, appears to be destabilizing rapidly because of the extremely rapid ice melt in the Arctic and around Greenland. Much more rapidly than had been anticipated or described until very recently. So this is, yet another reminder that we are now in the age of consequences and likely to experience unpleasant surprises because of that. So that is something that reminds us of the urgency of these times, and that part of how we are going to get through this is by building community, by knowing that we have people in places all over the world who care about the same things and who are committed to helping all of humanity get through this. It's very important that our community is not just our local community, although that is vital, especially in times of emergency. Having neighbors that you can go to and rely on, knowing what neighbors have what skills or tools or supplies usually on hand, can make tremendous difference in crisis situations, whether that's flooding and mudslides, wildfires. But there's also something really important about having a global network that can support you, because these crises are not happening everywhere the same way all at once. And so we have resources and abilities that we can share with one another. Somewhere where, say, there's a terrible heat wave and the power has gone out, that information can be shared and spread by people in places that aren't experiencing power outages. So again, local, undeniably important, but global also makes a difference and is how we're going to get through this. So hoping that you are handling whatever climate is bringing you right now, hoping that you and your loved ones remain safe, recognizing that for people all around the world, these disruptions put them more and more in jeopardy in terms of access to clean water and food. And that the people who are most in peril are the people who are least responsible for what's going on now, who have had the least benefit from all of the years of industrialization and fossil fuels. And so those of us who have a little bit of a cushion, a little bit of resource availability, have an obligation to participate in helping those with fewer resources to survive this age of consequences, to reduce suffering all around the world. But there's also joy and good news and beauty. And I want to share with you something that's been helping me get through this week. And that is the live bear cams from the salmon run at Brooks Falls in Katmai National Park in Alaska. So I'm just going to share screen so you can get a glimpse of that. And here we go. Just so you can see, this is, we are live in real time, the wonder of technology, watching bears fish for salmon as the salmon are making their way upstream to their spawning grounds. People know and identify these individual bears. Each bear has different skills and preferences when it comes to how they fish for salmon. It's not all sweetness and light. When they actually acquire a salmon, it can be quite, well, it's nature. So it can get pretty ugly. And yet, this is how this ecosystem thrives. Salmon go out to sea for years. All of the salmonids, including like steelhead trout and others, they go out into the ocean to build up resources to grow from very small fish that leave downstream and go out to the ocean, transferring from freshwater to saltwater, feeding out there in the ocean until they have built up a large store of resources so they can come back onto land and make their way upstream to their spawning grounds. Not all of them make it. Some of them get eaten by bears. Some of them, obviously many of them get eaten by other organisms out in the ocean. So that's bringing some of these freshwater resources out into the ocean. But a lot of them do make it upriver. They successfully get to their spawning areas, spawn, and then die, leaving those resources way up in the rivers in these forests. Or they get eaten by bears or other predators, or you can see there's seagulls and other birds that will come take fish or parts of fish as well. And these beings take those nutrients from the river that actually came from the ocean, and they take them up into the forest. So you've probably heard that bears will crap in the woods. That is part of how they keep the woods alive, by bringing nutrition from the ocean into these forests. So it's just an amazing thing that we live at a time when people all over the world, if you've got a good enough internet connection, can watch this happening at this one unique and beautiful place, Brooks Falls up in Alaska. So I encourage you to check it out. I'll add the link to the description at some point after this is finished and posted. Wow, that was quite the dive there. And did they get it? No, looks like not. Okay. So that's the bears. And the news from the bears is not as good as we would like it to be. And yet there are new cubs this year. The bears are starting to put on the weight that they need to hibernate through the Alaskan winter. It's amazing. So I really encourage you to check it out and appreciate the way that nature is always there to remind us of beauty and resilience and fierceness. So, really, really deep appreciation to the team that hosts and takes care of those live cameras so that we can watch what's going on. There's a team that monitors chat so that they can have, allow people to talk about what they're seeing and keep nastiness out of it, which is a great thing to have in this day and age on the internet. So it's a really beautiful way to connect with people all around the world who are appreciating these bears. And I realize as I move along here, there are other things I want to share with you. It is kind of Lions and Tigers and Bears Week, or at least Tigers and Bears Week, not only with the bear live streams, but International Tiger Day is coming up this Saturday. So I encourage you to try to take a moment on Saturday and learn a little more about tigers, or just feel into that energy of these amazing apex predators and how vital they are for ecosystems. So deep appreciation for all of the lions and tigers and bears all around the world. Other events to tell you about. So we are coming up on the time of the cross quarter or mid-season. A lot of people will celebrate cross quarters on the 1st of the month. So in this case, that would be the 1st of August. You'll see that in Novasutras, we choose the astronomical timing based on when the sun is midway between the equator and the tropic line. And so our celebration is almost a full week after that on August 7th. So we'll be offering that celebration, and I'll talk a little bit more about cross quarters and what they are and those celebrations as we move along. But there are a few events happening on August 1st, including I will be leading a guided meditation on Insight Timer for the full moon on August 1st, right through the moment when the moon is its fullest. So that's going to start at the quarter after the hour. And you can check the links to find what your local timing is. We also have our first of the month introduction to Novasutras group meditation. So that's where those who are in the Novasutras group on Insight Timer can all listen to the same recording at the same time and then have a conversation around that via text chat. August 1st also happens to be the first Tuesday of the month, and that is the Deep Transformation Network's monthly live network meeting. So this is a great chance to get to know other people who are really dedicated and working towards transforming all of those systems that are currently doing so much harm in the world and finding our way toward a true ecological civilization, finding our way toward new human relationships with nature that are informed by indigenous wisdom around how to be in right relationship with the living world, informed by both Eastern and Western philosophies, to really rethink how humans as a species live and interact with our world. So I encourage you to check that out. It's a great way to get to know what Deep Transformation Network is about. And as you do, please do join the Novasutras conversation group there on Deep Transformation Network. And then other events that are coming up. So where I am, Monday the 31st, for those in Australia, it will be morning to midday of August 1st is the co-creation of Deep Practice Space on the Deep Transformation Network. So this is a gathering that's really focused on what it means to be a practitioner of deep transformation and to discovering, creating, and sharing practices that can help us navigate the transformations that are required of us right now to move toward an ecological civilization. So do check those out. Something similar happens again on Thursday, August 3rd. Again, your date may vary. So folks in Australia, New Zealand, and sometimes in Asia might need to add a day to that. And check, you can always come to novasutras.org/events and click on these to get more details. And you can go to that site and it should adjust for whatever time zone your computer is set at so that you can see what the timing is in your time zone. Everywhere around the world, there is a remembrance of Hiroshima, of the day that the first atomic bomb was dropped deliberately on a human population. There are celebrations to remember and honor the dead from that day, but also to rededicate ourselves to peace and to the elimination of nuclear weapons. And this is a really important one this year, given the heightened global tensions. Of course, we've got this conflict based on Russia's invasion of Ukraine that now has not only the United States and Russia, but a lot of European powers that also have some nuclear weapons, all much closer to some kind of conflict than we've seen in a long time. And of course, things continue to be complex in East Asia as well, particularly with what's going on in the ongoing, unfolding aftermath of the Korean War and the fact that there's no resolution there. So a very important time for us to focus on and emphasize moving toward peace and disarmament. Then, as I talked about, we've got our cross-quarter celebration on August 7th. And I wanted to talk a little bit about what that means from a Novasutras perspective and how we relate to that. So if you go to novasutras.org/events and click on this link, you will get to the event details page and specifically our description of, and I still have not fixed the title. Apologies. It's not the full moon. It will be the waning moon, and there's no lunar eclipse. I just got it scheduled just before this event. So there we are. Anyway, so we're having this mid-season cross-quarter celebration. And if you follow the links there, you'll see that we've got descriptions of the cross-quarter, what it means. And again, the title will be revised here as soon as I'm off this call and can get to that. But we talk a little bit, again, you'll see this description of the event that's going to happen on Insight Timer. And then some other suggestions for planning your own celebrations. So whether you choose to celebrate on the 1st of August, on the 7th of August, or sometime in between, or even after. This cross-quarter in Celtic traditions, in Wicca and neo-pagan related practices is, I'm not going to be able to pronounce this, Livnasa or Lamas, and often corresponds with the Hajj and Eid al-Adha in Islam. We celebrate these 8 points of the year, the equinoxes, the solstices, and the cross quarters, because they are global. And that's part of why in Novasutras we choose to use the astronomical timing. So it's not just based on the current, widely used but not universal modified Gregorian calendar, that we are in fact recognizing the times when the relationships between the positions of the Earth and Sun and the Earth's axial tilt are evident all around the world. So we define the moment of the equinox as the time when the sun is directly overhead at the equator, and that only happens twice a year at very specific moments. We define each solstice as a time where the sun is either farthest north or farthest south, and when it's the farthest in your hemisphere, that's your summer. When it's the farthest in your or when it's the opposite direction. So here in the northern hemisphere, when the sun is the farthest south, that would be our winter solstice in December. And those are marked on, if you look at a globe, you'll see that there's these lines that are called the tropic lines, the Tropic of Cancer in the north. So when the sun is in Cancer in late June, it reaches its most northerly point of the year from an earthly perspective. And that is the summer solstice, or the June solstice anyway. And similarly, in the winter, the sun is the farthest south at the Tropic of Capricorn. So these are indisputable, measurable phenomena that are true for every being on Earth. That's why we choose to mark these times and to celebrate them together. And we're not alone in this. Of course, there are traditions all around the world across widely diverse cultures where these times of year are recognized, because people recognize that changes in length of day, the changes in the height of the sun in the sky, of how far north or south the sun rises and sets compared to precise due east and due west. So we will be celebrating on August 7th. And that is the point where the sun is directly overhead at 16 degrees, 20 minutes north. So that happens at a very specific minute of the day, with a few minutes of, well, it's very close. So I do my best to time our celebrations for those specific times. I'm not quite dedicated enough to get up and do it when it's the middle of the night here. Though I might be convinced to start working on that now that I live in a 1-bedroom apartment instead of a studio with my husband, so I wouldn't have to wake him up if I have to do it at 2 a.m. So maybe I'll think about it. This time I got lucky. It's actually it's really close to midday for me for this cross quarter. So that's when we will be celebrating it. But I will be traveling. So those of you who've experienced my attempts at being on Insight Timer from remote locations know that there might be a little more technical challenge than usual, but hopefully we will get through it, and really look forward to these. For the cross quarters, one of the most fun pieces that we do is spicy blessings. And I'm borrowing this term from Caroline Casey of the Visionary Activist Show. Check her out on Pacifica Radio Network. She's amazing and brilliant and wonderful. Even if you are not a person who's very interested in astrology, so much of the other things that she has to say are so fascinating, and her take on astrology is really interesting. So I encourage you to check out The Visionary Activist with Caroline Casey, and I'll try to remember to drop the link for that. But she talks about being, offering spicy blessings is this chance to offer energy for change to those that we think really need to change. And so specifically, for this cross quarter, we'll be going through and talking about individuals, organizations, institutions, maybe countries, who knows what else will emerge, and offering them to abide in Agaya and Ubuntu. Not only in the sense of to dwell within that, as we wish that all beings may abide in Agaya and Ubuntu, that they might have that opportunity to thrive in joy and connection. But we also offer them the opportunity to abide by the rules, to take on the challenge of changing. And I'm realizing that in this live, I still have not actually described and defined Agaya and Ubuntu. Those of you who watched the last one got a little description of that. Briefly, Agaya is our connection with the wonder and beauty and co-evolutionary creativity of life on Earth, and the way that all life on Earth has evolved and continues to evolve to keep Earth habitable and to create conditions where even more complexity can evolve in thriving ecosystems, and opening up to that possibility that all of this beauty and wonder and awesome complexity is some expression of some kind of transcendent love that connects us. And one of the ways that that connection is best captured is this beautiful word from the Nguni Bantu languages of Southern Africa, this word Ubuntu. And Ubuntu is specifically recognizing that deep interdependence, the way that we are who and what we are just because of our relationships. That it's those relationships, connections, and the reciprocity of our interdependence that defines us, and that this is true throughout the living world. So when we're offering spicy blessings, we might say that some fossil fuel CEOs, we might offer them the opportunity by saying, may this fossil fuel CEO abide in Agaya and Ubuntu. May they follow the rules of Agaya and Ubuntu and begin to live and make decisions in ways that exemplify Agaya and Ubuntu. So we are offering them the energy and potential for change with our intentions. So I invite you to learn a little bit more about that and check that out on our cross-quarter celebration suggestions page. Again, you can get to that through novasutras.org/events and the links for the cross-quarter celebration. The link over here goes directly to the Insight Timer, which does have the proper title. So the Insight Timer event that's happening 1 week, 3 days, and 18 hours from right now. So I hope that you can join us for that one. Okay. So now what I would like to do is to close us out with a brief guided meditation. Again, meditation is an important part of Novasutras practice. It is a way that we build the internal peace and resilience that we need to face the challenging times that we're in. Novasutras is here to serve and support and uplift people who want to create positive change in the world, who understand that what is happening now is not viable. It is not just. It must change. But that the most effective changes are going to happen when the people who care about this world are as personally resilient and effective as they can be. When they're coming from a place of calm and good decision making. Doesn't mean you can't be angry. Doesn't mean that you shouldn't get out there and fight the system. It's always a good day to fight the system. What it does mean is that if you can do that from a place of deeply centered peace and love, you are so much more powerful. So I invite you to just drop in to that amazing, powerful being that you are. Maybe not the one that you've been today, but the one that your heart knows that you can be. And as we celebrate lions and tigers and bears, what would it mean to have the heart of a tiger? To know that you are powerful to know that your power will be respected. See if you can breathe into where you feel your power center. Maybe that's at your heart. Maybe that's at your throat, your communication, your speech, your singing. Maybe that's down below your heart at your solar plexus. This convergence of energy in your body. Maybe that's even deeper at your low belly. Or deeper still, at the base of your spine. Maybe your power is your perceptive abilities in your head. Maybe you feel your power is your connection to spirit or to what is transcendent in the universe, near the crown of your head. Maybe where your power center is shifts and changes within you from day to day. Accept that. Feel into what feels most powerful for you right now. And bring your breath and concentration to that power center, allowing it to feel clear, strong, and with the patience of a stalking tiger. Ready to spring into action when the moment is right. Knowing that holding stillness and calm will make what you do when you act so much more powerful. Wherever you're feeling that power center right now, let it move through you, Let it move up and down the length of your body, shifting down to your base, moving down into your legs and feet, that they might bring you to the places where your gifts and your power will be most welcomed and most effective. Letting it move from the core of you out along your shoulders and arms, and your hands, that the work that you do might be imbued with beautiful, peaceful power. And letting it move all the way to the crown of your head, that you might receive the power that you need to make wise decisions and help create a beautiful, thriving future of Agaya and Ubuntu. And with that energy moving all through your body, start to bring a little motion into your toes, to your fingers, to your hands and feet. A little fluid motion into your ankles and into your wrists, into your arms, into your legs, into your hips, into your shoulders, into your spine and neck, and bringing your focus up to this point between your eyebrows. Gently let your eyes open if they've been closed, and allow your gaze to move around the space that you're in until your line of sight connects with something beautiful. Maybe a houseplant or companion animal in the room with you. Maybe a tree outside or just the light coming in the window. Maybe it's a favorite piece of art or a favorite color on some furniture. Maybe it's this view of our Earth from space. Whatever it is that meets your eye with beauty, allow that to bring you back to that gratitude, to that sense of being nourished by beauty and joy. May you abide in Agaya and Ubuntu. I want to leave you with our action for the week. And this week, that action, share screen very quickly. I'll end up putting the link in the description again once we're finished. But the action I'm suggesting this week is to protect some tiger habitat, specifically Indonesia's looser ecosystem, by signing this petition on the Rainforest Action Network. The looser ecosystem is where I did my research on orangutans. It was also habitat for forest elephants, sun bears, tigers. It's one of the most incredibly diverse and precious ecosystems in the world. There's so much carbon held in the peat swamps and forests there. And yet, millions of acres of this forest continue to be cut down. Primarily right now, it is under threat from palm oil. So I invite you to sign this petition to urge protection of this vital, important equatorial rainforest ecosystem. Again, thank you all so much for all the beautiful work that you do in the world. May your power lead you to be an ever more effective and engaged activist, creating the world that can abide in Agaya and Ubuntu. Thank you so much for joining us. You can look for us again. I will try to schedule one of these live streams for sometime next week, but I haven't done that yet. And again, any feedback you can offer in the YouTube comments, or if you join the Novasutras group on the Deep Transformation Network, or I'll post this to the Novasutras blog and you can comment there. That feedback will help us to make these sessions more useful and effective for everyone who can watch them. Again, deep gratitude, and I look forward to the next time we connect. Ubuntu and Agaya to you and all beings.